All right.
Yep, being recorded.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in to get some general information about, in this case, Urbino, Italy, which is our program, our continuing program for quite some years. I have a short presentation and a video to show you and talk about some things, and then we'll take some questions at the end if we have time and you have a mind to have some questions. So let me share my screen with you. Hopefully that is showing to you.
Yes.
Somebody, okay, great. All right, so like I said, thanks for tuning in to hear about our programming in Italy at this point. As Locke said, we are the largest faculty-led program at the university. It is centered in Urbino, Italy, and we'll talk a little bit about the programming today and where it is and some things like that. So it's a historically designated hill town in mid-eastern Italy, and it's has the World Heritage designation for the entire town, which is unusual to us in the States, but not really unusual in Europe, where everything has a much longer history. So in Urbino, we have something called the International Studies Center at Urbino. It is in Urbino, in the town of, and it was created to help organize and facilitate all the different colleges at UTSA having independent, yet coordinated programming in Italy for a full semester term. Right now, we have architecture there, interior design there, College of Liberal and Fine Arts. I say it that way because they have several programs that rotate, about 3 or 4. Civil engineering, construction science, also in the works, environmental sciences at a College of Sciences, education, specifically the teaching English as a second language group, and cybersecurity has been voiced as a need from people in Italy at that location, wanting some collaboration in that discipline. We also consider International Studies Center as a beachhead for all European connections, dual programming, educational programming, and student exchanges. It is the first micro campus at UTSA where we have a structured collaboration and joint educational programming with the local university, in this case, the University of Urbino, and that will be in the near future implemented. Much closer tie and sharing of resources as we support integrated programming there. Okay, so more on the International Studies Center itself. The facilities, as I said, we have programming for all the colleges, or opportunities for all the colleges at UTSA to be in Urbino. We work with faculty leads in each of the process usually starts with a faculty who is interested in leading a group for a specific purpose. They start talking with me, the executive director, and we develop a program for his or her specific discipline here at UTSA to go. We develop a budget for that group and what exactly they need out of the trip, the program, and it goes from there. We do emphasize collaborative and joint experiences across all the different disciplines at UTSA that are in residence in Urbino. ISCU serves as a location for administration that's relative to the operations there. We work with a third-party provider, an Italian company, Global Education Ventures, and we've been using them for over 10 years. They serve the students, they facilitate all the travel, all the lodging, all the classrooms, and everything we need. They are the people that take care of that for us. As executive director, I personally oversee general on-site operations, the issues that come up, any planning for every semester going forward, looking into the future. A little bit about where it's actually located. If you're familiar with the country of Italy, it's, famously looking like a boot. It is, I tell people, it is the calf muscle in the Italy peninsula. It's on the Adriatic side of the country. So it's in a region called Marche, Regione Marche, uh, right there, central eastern Italy. We are located some 40, 45 kilometers in from the direct connection to the Adriatic is a town called Pesaro, and we are located inland directly about 45 kilometers. It's a bus ride. 35 kilometers is about a 45-minute bus ride to the coast and the beach. 30 kilometers, that's what I was just saying. So it's very easy and yet isolated just enough for us to be uh, in a very nice setting for studies, but we can also get to a main point of debarkation with the train system. So Urbino is just a lovely hill town. It's immediately comfortable to students when we take them there. We check them into dormitory spaces that we have for them, and students quickly integrate with the local community and culture. There is a university there with somewhere between 16 and 18,000 students from all over Europe, but the majority obviously come from Italy. I'm going to quickly go through some visuals about the place. The Piazza Duca Federico is the famous Duke of the region, and this is where his headquarters was, his palace is. And there's a lot of history that you will learn about when you're there. This is his palace. We do see all seasons at this part of Italy, so it's interesting for our students from South Texas that rarely see anything but hot and warm. You do see the seasons there, and it's for most of us, it's a nice change to experience. The town itself, the landscape in the town is just pretty amazing, architecturally speaking. It's a very safe environment, very clean hill town, and just perfect in our opinion. Some other pictures, photos from around the near area right outside of town. Our actual campus for our classes is, so on the right-hand side of this picture, you have the historic Urbino, right, the historically designated town. Right outside the town, you have Urbino Nuova, the modern Urbino. And in between these, it doesn't look that way, but it's about a 15-minute walk, 1 kilometer to a campus. It was created back in the 1960s. And that's where our classroom is, in this building down here called the library building. We have, in the upper floors, all our studios and classrooms are around that area. Some dormitories on the side of this hill. Usually we end up staying in the historic center, right? There is a cafeteria, or they call it a mensa, in both locations. Students to eat, whether it's lunch while they're in class or while they're back in their dorm room if they're city center. Easy to get to your cafeteria. Some other pictures of where we actually have class. This is the classroom building, the library building. This is the cafeteria, the mensa that's out there in the campus outside of town. The facilities are very, very nice, and in some cases better than what we have here in San Antonio. Lots of space. The students, as I said, from all over Europe, but they're also largely from Italy. So they're amongst us right after their semester starts. There's a period where they're not there when we are, typically, but it has all the facilities we need as a student group during our weekdays that we're having class. Some of the furniture was originally designed by the architect Giancarlo De Carlo back in the 60s. It's still in use today and in great shape. Some of the spaces are very nice for how we do things in our teaching. Some more photographs. This is the classroom area Mensa. It's very heavy concrete architecture, uh, very safe feeling and very, this is full of people, right? It's not, obviously this is empty for the photograph, but it's very, very busy typically. We are in the hills, and so it's every view is pretty amazing. You cannot take a bad picture when you're there. It's the views from the dorm rooms, the classrooms can be a little distracting at times. This is the interior of the library or the classroom building for our operations. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, um, wide open space. We occupy and use it effectively. These are the studio spaces that our design students use. Uh, all in pretty good shape. You're undergoing a staged restoration project for the whole hill of classrooms, and that's always in some stage of construction or reconstruction. This is the terrace outside of our classrooms. Give you some idea of the views. Students take a break out on the patio. Here's the 15-minute walk view back to the historic city center and back to the classrooms. We do have some faculty housing city center, and some of these shots are from the faculty dormitory, which is this building. It's been recent. It's a very old building, which is recently restored about 10 years ago. And the in-town Mensa is actually downstairs underneath this building. So a little bit more about the area in general, besides the town of Urbino. It's in, like I said, the region of Marche. And Urbino is the home of the famous artist Raffaello. And we just last year celebrated his 500th anniversary of his death. They had year-long festivities. He's a pretty big deal in the art world, and that art came from this region of Italy, a lot of people would argue, and the Renaissance was based in this area. So here are a couple pictures of the different seasons we have. Pesaro is at the end of the bus line for you, and where the major train station connection is for students and faculty. It is a port city, one of two we'll look at today. Um, Beautiful. You see all different types of topography on a very localized scale in this part of Italy. You have cliffs, you have seaside, you have towns, you have national parks to visit. Just before 10 years ago, this was a somewhat unknown part of Italy for us Americans to visit. That is changing quickly, however. And of course, beach activities are a strong attraction for visitors and Italians alike. You can go to the beach all the way through the end of September, typically, if you're a group that happens to be going in the fall. Fano is another small town, very close as well. Another port city. One might argue this is a little more recreational port. You can see some of the boats and ships here. But it is a fishing location. Obviously, a lot of the food product here is seafood based. It's really wonderful food. And of course, all regions in Italy have climate conditions perfect for vineyards and olive groves. Like I said, this Furlough is a national park that's within about a 40-minute bus ride from us in Urbino. We go hiking with the students here, and sometimes even a snowshoeing if you're there in a particular season. This mountain scene is literally just an hour away from where we're staying. So you can see the quick change in topography from where we are. And we do some all voluntary. If you want to do hiking, then we can put together a group and find a guide, and kind of is organic and organization. And we do some of those things on the weekend as students have the desire to do so. So how are we structured in Urbino? As I said earlier, we have the third-party providers called Global Education Ventures. This is their studyabroaditaly.eu is their website. You should definitely visit that. A lot of information there, and a lot of these same pictures, and a lot more pictures, and they have former student contributed pictures of groups that have gone. So it's very illustrative of what's happening and the success we have there as student groups. What's typically included in the programs that we take to Urbino are the costs for the programming, including room and board, we typically lay out each semester within each group, like a COLFA group, an architecture group, an engineering group. They have different needs and deliverables for their groups, but at the same time, we integrate them so that we go on trips together, excursions together, field trips together, just to make sure it's all organized and everybody gets a baseline of the same thing. If you're going, we have something called a bridge fund. This came into play about 2 years ago, and it is a way for students to pay the first deposit, roughly 20%, 25% or so of the cost of the program, and the rest of your payment for the program is deferred through this mechanism to when you actually leave to go, so that you don't have to pay a semester in advance the complete cost of the program. This really was a game changer, to use an overused term, in that students were having a very difficult time coming up with both the current semester of funding and next semester at the same time, and this helps that out. So how are we doing with this programming? Well, we have the estimated cost is about $9,700 for 2020. That's how we proceed. And the more students to go, the more that cost comes down, because we have some costs based on group versus individual. So that can come down. We've been as low as $9,200, $9,300, but we set things up for your payments to $9,700, and we adjust at the back end to the actual cost of the program. The inclusions for the program, so that you know what you get for your money. You're gone for 13 weeks. So your semester, instead of 15, 16 weeks, here is 13 weeks in Italy, in Urbino. And for 13 weeks there, you get lodging, so a place to stay for 13 weeks. You get 120 meals. So that is designed because at 10 meals a week, and it assumes everybody's going to be gone for their fall or spring break week, traveling on their own. So basically, it's lunch and dinner for you in the Mensa. Weekends are on your own. We have a European breakfast of a cornetto and a cup of coffee, also provided to you. But I don't even count that as a meal, but that's what the typical breakfast is there. And you have 2 meals a day in the Mensa. The excursions, we typically have 3, which are multi-day trips, 3 nights, 4 days, to Tuscany, Rome, and the Veneto. All the transportation is included. All the lodging is included. The food is not included because your food is paid for back at home. Uh, and the 120 meals is a debit card system. I state it that way because when we're gone on an excursion for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, for example, you can save those meals and actually use them on a different weekend because it's a debit card system. The weekly field trips, transportation is also included. The classroom space, special events, Urbino space, Italian instructors, if we have any, our faculty going teach class, obviously, beginning and ending group meals, and all the global education ventures support staff on site in their office in Urbino. We pay for that through the programming cost as well. What's not included is the transatlantic flight, the round trip flight from here to typically Bologna, Italy, is the port of entry and point of departure. Tuition and fees are not included in that estimate. Weekend free travel, weekend meals, miscellaneous expenditures, entertainment, right? However much you want to play on weekends, you obviously have to pay for that. The study abroad office international program fees is not included in that, nor anything that we don't list specifically. So we already talked about the Bridge Fund and its history. The process starts with a deposit. In the case of a spring program, that deposit happens in late September, and you sign a piece of paper that says, I'll pay the rest of this when I'm over there starting at the end of January. And it's roughly done that way. It's a pretty simple process, and it's, as I said before, put in place to help you pay later while you're actually doing the program. So we've had continuous operations since 2010, so over 10 years. We've grown. From the first semester, we had 18 students, and now we're averaging between 65 and 80 students each semester for the 13-week semester period. And in the future, we don't see that declining at all. In fact, it might grow a little bit at that level or more into the future. But we do have some growing pains. They're planning on renovating our classroom space. In addition, they will finish in this January a facility that'll be 47 beds dedicated to UTSA dormitory. And we have from the local educational facilities authority, if you will, another 50 beds available, which gets us plenty as we want. We're looking to develop a second dorm right down the street from the one that will open in January so that all our students can be close in proximity. So we like to say, and I'll end with a couple slides about this, that the raison d'etre is the reason for being is we want to change people's lives through this international travel and international education abroad. We feel strongly that an experience like this helps develop a more global perspective of the world for you as an individual about the built and natural environments. You will increase your cultural IQ and your awareness of what happens around the world. You broaden your experience and knowledge base regarding working in an international setting and making relative adjustments to your solutions, your creative processes, and design and in problem-solving experience. So our students come back changed people. I'd like to include a quote from Michelle Obama at this point. It basically says, this is how we get to a better place to better understand other cultures and participate with the global culture and global economy on a better scale and in a better way. So what you have to do as individual students is decide you want to do something like this. You have to commit at some level in time. You have to apply, obviously. You have to pay and prepare to go learn, be changed, enjoy, and have no regrets, because it's definitely worth it, the time and the investment of money. And at this point, I'm going to play a video that was created by our vendor.
Hi, everyone. And while we're waiting, I would just like to remind everyone to feel free to send me your ABC123 so we can enter you in the raffle. It'll just be Lock Lee, or you just type it on the overall chat, either one, as long as we get it so we can enter you in. And feel free to join the rest of our events for the week. Every event you join, you'll also get another entry into the raffle. All right? Thank you.
Try to get back to the share screen.
Dr. Murphy, we see, I think maybe your other screen.
Okay, I'll try it again. Share screen. So you're not seeing this video right now?
Yes, we see it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we can see it.
but you can't hear it, right?
We can hear it as well.
All right.
Urbino is interesting. I've never been to a city like it.
It's beautiful. Like everything is beautiful. The people are nice.
And here in Urbino, everything was so close together. It was super convenient.
Everything's slow here. So not in a bad way, but you just stop and enjoy it.
Urbino is so safe that little kids are around the town without adults.
So Urbino, for me, it's beautiful. Cut to the scene. But yeah, it's really beautiful here. You see the change in the season. Everything here is have like a big sense of community, big sense of like, you hear everything that's going on in the town. Just open your window and you will see and hear every single thing. From the church bells, people socializing every night. It's a beautiful place to live in. And I don't regret like coming here all life.
As a U.S. university, it's very important for us to produce graduates that are well-rounded, and we see a big part of that well-roundedness being to provide opportunities to study abroad in a European setting. That being the case, our objective is to create graduates with a high level of cultural IQ, and they can do that by living and being part of a local culture, especially in the country of Italy. As far back as Raffaello referred to Urbino as the ideal city, and we agree with that. And by design of the city itself and by the location, you can get to anywhere you want to get to in Europe. The students have a lot of free travel time, and they take full advantage of that. And this is a good springboard location to go on weekend trips throughout Europe. We see the study abroad as important to all disciplines at the university, not just the design disciplines. While there's a clear association with the founding of many of the arts in the country of Italy, we see it as very important to all disciplines at the university: liberal and fine arts, architecture, design, business, law, whatever discipline. There's an application here to investigate in Italy.
The transition from the Bologna airport all the way to Urbino
It was easier than I thought it was.
It is not complicated to get from the airport to Urbino. In fact, you get off the plane and you'll see a professor, GED staff, or students waiting for you. Everyone waits at a meeting point, and once everyone is there, we walk together to the bus, and the bus brings us to Urbino.
We give to the student a full support for their daily activity. We advise them anything they need, and we help them to organize their extra activity and their independent travels. I did my study abroad when I was 19 years old, and I ended up to finish the university in the United States and work a little bit there. So I've been living in the United States for more than 5 years. And it has been a great experience for me. It really changed my life. I believe it's important for everybody to have an experience to study abroad. It can be in any part of the world, any country of the world. I think it's important to stay abroad on that country as long as you can. This gives you the opportunity to better understand the culture, the language, and the people living there.
The staff in Urbino is great. They take care of all the logistics.